If you're excited about big game hunting season, which is just around the corner, you're going to want to see this Bergara HMR Wilderness in 6.5 PRC. Gavin here from UltimateReloader.com. I am super excited about this rifle project. In this box, I've got Bergara's HMR Wilderness chambered in 6.5 PRC. This is their version of their hunting and match rifle, HMR, that's optimized for hunting. So this is going to be a great multi-purpose rifle. And on top of that, I've got Athlon's Ares BTR Gen 2 first focal plane, 4.5 to 27 power with the APLR3 reticle. This has got selective illumination. It's going to be perfect for those dawn and dusk shots. I'll have a separate video on this scope that's going to go into deep detail, tracking tests, the reticle alignment test, all sorts of field testing with it. But before that, let's get this rifle out of the box and see what we've got here. So, what a beauty we've got here. Got the rifle itself. We've got the bolt, which comes in a separate bag. Go ahead and install that. And we've got a detachable AICS 3-round magazine. And of course, we've also got the owner's manual. So, what I want to do next is walk through all of the particulars and features that sets this HMR Wilderness apart from other rifles in its category. Let's start with a tour of the rifle, and first I'm going to focus on the barreled action. At the heart of it all, we've got Bergara's Remington 700 footprint receiver. This is great. It's compatible with Remington 700 aftermarket triggers. It's compatible with scope bases from a variety of manufacturers for the Remington 700 platform, but it's got a lot of nice features and extras. We've got the external bolt release that would be typical of custom actions. I really like this compared with the trigger well type standard Remington 700 bolt release. We've got an oversized bolt knob. We've got a 2-lug design with a 90-degree throw. This is going to be very familiar for all of you that have owned or shot Remington 700 rifles. For the 6.5 PRC model, we've got a 24-inch barrel with a number 6 contour and 1-in-8 twist. I expect this to be a great performer, and I'm interested to compare my loads, velocity, and performance data with the full custom 6.5 PRC hunting rifle that I built not too long ago on the channel. We've got 5/8 by 24 muzzle threading, a standard omnidirectional muzzle brake, which is great. You're going to want that with 6.5 PRC. Sniper gray Cerakote on the barreled action. Now let's take a look at the HMR stock. It's got the same profile and ergonomics that my B-14R has. It feels the same. It is the same, which I absolutely love. Some of the features that I really like are the adjustable cheek riser. If we loosen this lock nut here, we can raise the cheek piece and then tighten it back down. That's going to be locked in. It's got grip panels here that are molded into the stock. It's got QD cups fore and aft on both sides. That is genius because I use QD slings, the quick disconnect style, especially with hunting, and it's really great. When you're going to shoot off the bench or do some PRS style shooting, you can just pop the buttons and it comes right off. These stocks for the HMR Wilderness are hand painted, and that level of detail and craftsmanship really comes through. For the bottom metal, we've got a fingertip actuated magazine catch. We've got the AICS style magazine. This is a 3-round magazine, which is great for hunting. I've also got 10-round magazines that I use in my other rifle, which also uses AICS magazines. We've got swivel studs on the rear and 2 in the front, which is pretty conventional. I plan to use a Harris SBRM bipod. That's got the tilt feature, and that's really nice when you're shooting off of uneven ground. So in my opinion, this rifle for a non-custom leaves nothing on the table for features and performance. And what I'm going to do next is get the optic mounted. You're going to want to check out that separate video on the Athlon Ares BTR Gen 2 scope. I'll go into much more detail in that video. When we get back from mounting the scope, we're going to take this out, do some shooting with it. I'm going to compare factory ammunition and a bunch of other stuff too. Let me get to it. And here it is. I've got the rifle completely equipped for the field. We've got the Athlon Ares BTR Gen 2 APLR3 reticle scope, 4.5 to 27 power. These are the Athlon precision rings. These are the low height, so 0.868 inches. The install was very straightforward. I've got the lower half of the rings. We clamped those down at 65 inch-pounds, checked for eye relief. When I felt comfortable that I had the eye relief optimized, I put the top half of the rings on and very carefully used a cross pattern to get those torqued down to 18 foot-pounds. I'm using the Wheeler Engineering torque screwdriver for that. It has the appropriate bits and all. I also stole a sunshade off of one of my Athlon Midas TAC scopes. Those are the 6 to 24 by 50. I do shoot into the sun frequently in the AM hours when I don't have a lot of mirage. The sun could be almost directly incident on the objective, so that can make things a little bit challenging. The sunshade helps cut that down drastically. The scope, as I said, will be reviewed separately. I've got some proprietary testing methods and tools that I'm going to be debuting with that video, so you do want to make sure that you see that. Got the rifle zeroed, and then it was a matter of going through the break-in process. Now, I went through the break-in process with the rifle kind of as it came with the muzzle brake, and my methodology is 1 shot clean, another shot clean, another shot clean, and then 3 shots clean, 3 shots clean, then 5 shots clean, 5 shots clean. Now for cleaning, I'm not going overboard here. I'm running 1 wet patch through, and I'm running approximately 3 dry patches through. I'm doing this frequently with those intervals that I just specified, and that makes it go nice and smoothly. I'm treating this barrel like it was one of my high-end match barrels because I don't want to leave anything on the table for accuracy because I didn't break in the rifle correctly. After that, it was time to conduct chronograph testing. So for the chronograph testing of factory ammunition, I used a MagnetoSpeed V3, which is a bayonet sensor with a separate display. And what I decided to do was to test 2 popular types of factory ammo for 6.5 PRC. We've got the 147 grain ELDM match ammunition, and then the 143 ELDX Precision Hunter ammo. I've had really good luck with that bullet in 6.5 Creedmoor and in 6.5 PRC, so I wanted to make sure that I tested both. And here I'm timing my shots with some cool down time between because I really do want to get the best possible representation of not only when the velocity would be from an average velocity perspective, but also how consistent the velocity is. If you rush it and if you heat up the barrel, you can get a bit more velocity as the barrel heats up, and that's going to affect your SD and your extreme spread as well. Okay, so here's what the results were. The first ammunition that I tested was the 147 ELDM. At the end of the 5 shots, we had an average velocity of 29.54 and an SD of 16.9 feet per second. I would expect that velocity to increase as the break-in process for the barrel gets completed. And that could be several hundred rounds. We could see upwards of 100 feet per second, plus or minus 50 feet per second of velocity gain as the interior of the bore is fully broken in, smoothed out, all that. The 143 ELDX Precision Hunter ammunition was next. Same test process, waiting for things to cool down between shots, not rushing it, wanting to get really good data. And the result was 2987 feet per second for average velocity and 19.8 feet per second for the SD. This is consistent with what I've seen before. I have not gotten the tightest velocity spreads with factory ammunition because in my experience that's something that you fine tune with your own hand loads. That's one of the biggest benefits of hand loading ammunition for your rifle. And where that becomes increasingly important is to prevent vertical shot dispersion over 1,000 yards. So if you're hunting at 600 yards, this factory ammunition is going to be a good performing ammunition. I'll get to the accuracy data in just a moment. And that SD would be perfectly acceptable. During the chronograph testing and during the break-in, I saw something peculiar. I was not getting the accuracy that I expected to get with this particular rifle. I've shot Bergars before, several of them, and they've all been incredibly accurate. I was seeing over an inch groups, and I thought to myself, what could that be? And I'm not sure what made me think to measure the opening in the muzzle brake that came installed on the rifle from the factory, but I did. And what I found was the tolerance, in other words, there's a certain increase in diameter over bullet diameter, was only about 4.5 thousandths of an inch. And when I typically fit a brake on a precision rifle, I'm looking to have at least 20 thousandths of an inch of clearance. And I talked with Bergara about this. Their tolerance is 30 thousandths of an inch, something like plus or minus 5 thousandths of an inch. And so in talking with Bergara, it turns out a very limited number of rifles went out with the constricted exit on the muzzle brake. Not sure if that was intended for 6mm or what the deal was, but it turned out I got one of those. I removed the muzzle brake and replaced it with the suppressor, which is how I intend to use this rifle. This is, to me, a hunting rifle, and I hunt suppressed always. Also, I did my accuracy testing on the other 6.5 PRC rifle that I built, the lightweight Hunter, with this very suppressor, this Omega 300 from Silencer Co. And that is when things went from good to great. I tested the ammunition. Again, I started with the 147 ELDM match ammo, and then I moved my way over to the 143 ELDX Precision Hunter. With the match ammo, my best group, in fact, the first group that I shot after the replacement of the muzzle brake with the Omega 300, 5 shots went into 0.619 inches. That's a huge improvement. That's cutting the group size in half. In fact, the first 4 shots sequentially went into about 1/4 inch. This measures 0.252 inches. I only shot 3 groups, so I'm feeling like this match ammo could potentially perform even better with a bit more testing. It would be potentially possible to get 5 shots into that 1/4 inch group, but that did not happen in the limited testing that I did. Okay, then on to the 143 ELDX Precision Hunter ammunition. I only shot 1 group, and that 1 group was phenomenal. Let me show you that real quick. Now that's what I'm talking about. I looked at my results from testing the same factory ammunition, the Precision Hunter ammunition with the lightweight Hunter build, which was a high-end custom build, and this group was about 20 thousandths of an inch smaller than that other group. I would put that in the same performance class, which is absolutely awesome. And that's where I'm going to leave performance testing for this initial story on the HMR Wilderness 6.5 PRC Bergara rifle. I will be following this up with load development. I will likely feature both rifles, potentially as kind of a side-by-side kind of thing. I'll be talking about components. I've got some ADG brass. I'm going to be testing some really, really cool stuff, so you're going to want to catch that story for sure. I feel completely confident that this is kind of right up there at the top of the list in terms of bang for the buck if you want a rifle that's really truly dual purpose. Long range shooting and hunting. HMR Wilderness completely delivers in that department. If you are having accuracy issues with your Bergara, you might want to measure the exit port on the muzzle brake just to make sure you have that approximately 30 thousandths of an inch. So if bullet diameter is 264 for a 6.5 PRC, you're going to want to see 294, something like that. If you do have a problem, Bergara is absolutely going to take care of you. They're going to make it right. Absolutely not a problem at all. And it's very, very unlikely that you would be one of those few people that got one of those out of spec muzzle brakes. Love the rifle. Looking forward to future stories. Make sure you subscribe with notifications so that you don't miss the rest of the 6.5 PRC content, including the content with this particular rifle. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. And hey, I'd love to hear your feedback. Do you shoot 6.5 PRC? Do you have a Bergara HMR or HMR Wilderness specifically? Drop a comment and let's start a discussion. Also, don't forget, links in the video description. I got a full article that goes into more detail, links to product pages. I've got Ultimate Reloader shirts at the Ultimate Reloader store, and I'm on Patreon. Links down there in the video description. Thanks for watching. Until next time, happy shooting and happy reloading.